Hi everybody, it's so good to be here with you today. So we're talking today about practice. It's a subject that comes up in every single lesson. I'm sure if you're a student you understand that, and I'm sure if you're a teacher you know that you understand that as well. So if you're watching this video, I would love to hear from you. Say hi, pop a message in the comments, tell me about yourself, tell me if you're learning music, how long you've been learning and how it's going. Let me know. So if we've not met before, my name is Nicola Beats. I'm the Managing Director of the Music Tutor Limited. I run a music school here in Lincoln in the UK. So I have a good amount of students who we spend a little bit of their lesson talking about practice. Sometimes their reaction when I ask the question, how much practice have you done this week? Sometimes their reaction is, I've done loads, I'm brilliant, I can play the song straight away. And you know what? They are absolutely hitting their targets. Every week I ask students to do a certain amount of things. So just before the end of their lesson, I'll say, right, for homework this week, you've got this, this and this. And you know what? I have got loads of students who come back every week and I'm amazed. I'm amazed that they're doing it. Now, what's going wrong with those students who are not hitting those targets? Is it me? Am I reflecting on my teaching? Okay, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I'm trying to come up with a new way to motivate those students. But actually, practice, we can't come round to your house and force your fingers onto that piano. You have got to want to do it. So this video is just a short video just about talking about practice and maybe giving you some ideas as students or as parents to try and motivate. So let's get straight to it, shall we? So most important thing that we need to talk about, and it's pretty high up on my list, is how long should you practice for? Now we have loads of young beginners that come for lessons. So if you are a young beginner, so we start teaching from about 4 years old when they can read their ABCs and when they can sit on a piano stool for long enough and they've got good hand control. So how long should they be practicing for? My motto is little and often, okay? So if you're a 4-year-old student or if you have got a child who's 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, I always go by their age. So if you're 4 years old, you need to play your song 4 times a day. If you're 5 years old, you need to play your song 5 times a day. If you're 6 years old, you need to play your song 6 times a day. You get the idea. Now, when I talk to my adults about what I use the technique for my children, they then go, how many times a day should I be practicing? And you can imagine some of my adults do not have the time in the day to be practicing their songs that amount of time. So I use the magic number of 10, okay? So if you're an adult who's coming to practice, little and often still works, okay? I've Googled how long should I practice on my piano before I came on and did this video today. And the majority of the Google sites are saying 30 minutes. I don't say that as a teacher at all. I don't know if I sit down for 30 minutes and practice. I don't know if I do. Not at the moment, not in the current climate. So if I'm not doing it, then I shouldn't be asking my adults to do it. So little and often is what I say to my adults. And if they can play the song that they're working on 10 times on one day and think, yeah, I'm quite happy with that, it's improved over those 10 times, then they go away, come back to it maybe later that day, maybe it's the next day, maybe they've missed a day and they come back. But then they set themselves that goal and they play that song 10 times. Now, great if you are one of those students who sits for half an hour and plays over and over and over again. But you know what? Sometimes you can play for 30 minutes and you can get worse in those 30 minutes rather than better. And sometimes that's because you've done the song that many times that you start making silly mistakes. If that is you, walk away from that piano for a little while. Do not sit there and force yourself to try and make what I call these daft mistakes into perfect playing. It's not going to happen sometimes. Sometimes it does, most of the time it doesn't. So if you're sat there for 30 minutes and you do not feel that you have achieved your goal after those 30 minutes, you need to change something, okay? And that brings me on to my second subject, and that is keeping things fresh. The biggest hole that we fall into as piano players, guitar players, what else have we got? Flute, drums, singing students, keyboard students. We've got loads of keyboard students. That's my speciality. So the biggest hole that we fall into is doing the same kind of practice every single week. So you have your lesson at the minute online, you go away to do some practice, and you play the song right hand a few times, you play the song left hand a few times, and you put it together. And it doesn't always go right. You get a bit angry at yourself. You go away, you come back, you try it again, and the next day's a repeat, and the next day's a repeat. And that is something that I want to change. So when you're doing your practice this week, what you need to do is keep things fresh. This week I've been talking to quite a few people about comparing piano practice to losing weight. And if you're an adult and you've been trying to lose weight, seems to be a big topic in my house at the moment. But if you're trying to lose weight, you start on the journey. You begin this process and you start to lose the pounds. You get on the scales, you lose the weight, you feel great, okay? You're eating the right things, you're doing a little bit of exercise, everything's going in the right stride. And then once you've lost 4 stone, for example, you've then got another stone that you really want to lose. But that stone is the hardest stone that you are going to find to lose. And what happened when you lost weight in the past doesn't necessarily work to lose that last pound or that last stone. And it's the same with practice. So what you've done in the past may not work right now, okay? So you have to keep things fresh. You have to try and keep moving things along. That might be closing your book and actually making some songs up. It might be using arpeggios. That's what we've been doing on our lessons recently. We've been using arpeggios to make some little warm-up exercises and things. That's gone really well. In my young beginner lessons, we talk about fairies and elephants. We make fairy sounds on our pianos, and we then have some really big stonking elephants that come in. It might be doing that for a few minutes and then going back to your book and opening your book and thinking, oh, okay, where was I in my lesson? Nikki's asked me to do this week. So it's keeping things fresh. The other thing that you can do is not play for your first 2 minutes of saying to yourself, I'm going to do some practice. Opening your book, looking at the book and looking at the first bar of music, and then looking where that bar of music repeats. So where the same melody and rhythm is somewhere else in the music. You can almost guarantee somewhere it's going to be the same. And you look for those repeated bars. And then you look at the second bar and you look again at the patterns in the bars. You look at the crotchets, you look at the minims, you look at the letters, the C's, the D's, the E's. And you see where those patterns are. And you then start looking through your music and finding those patterns. This works really well for children. So if you're an adult and you're not musical and you've got a child who's learning music, look for patterns. You can see the patterns. Look for patterns. And when you're sat with them practicing, because quite a lot of my adults do sit and practice with their children. So when you're practicing, point out the rhythms and say, oh, look, that rhythm there, that bar is the same as that bar. Oh, shall we try just those bars on their own? And that's a really good way of doing it. So that's another practice technique that you could use. So keeping things fresh, something that worked for you in the past doesn't necessarily work for you now. So think, okay, this song's a little bit different. I've not done it before. I've not done this particular style of playing, or I've not learnt this new note. What can I do? How can I change it? You could go note by note. So start with the first note, then the first 2, and then go back again, and then the first 3, and then the first 4. You could look at a bar at a time. You could start from the end of the music and work backwards and build the piece of music up from the back, okay? There are lots of different ways that you could do it. And students are really good with coming up with these new ways. When you talk about practice, and I do talk about it with my students, and I'll say, how much practice have you done this week? And I'll get the reaction. And then I'll say, right, can you tell me about your practice? Tell me what you did. When did you do it? How did you do it? Did you break it down? Did you do this? Did you do that? And that really starts getting them thinking. And then the next time they come and do their practice, they then suddenly think, oh yeah, I remember what Nikki was talking about in my lesson. I'll try and apply that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is goals. We all do piano practice, or we all do singing or drum practice or guitar practice, keyboard practice, because we want a goal. For many of my students, that used to be exams. I don't know if it is exams at the moment that's kind of prioritised for my students. I don't think it is. I think things have changed. So in the current climate, I've got students who are enjoying their lessons for a bit of time out. So it's having that goal. So is that goal a particular piece that you are dying to play? For example, if you walked into a huge music shop in London and they've got a beautiful grand piano, what song would you play on that grand piano? And whatever song would you play on that grand piano, how many people would you think would stop in that music shop to come and listen to you play? I don't know if you've ever been in a music shop and someone's been playing the piano, or the keyboard, or the guitar, or drums, and you will find they start playing and then suddenly there's kind of a bit of an audience. It's quite nice. It's a nice feeling. So what would that song be when you sit at that piano? What would that song be? So a goal could be working towards an exam. For some of my students, we are still doing exams. It's great. So when they've got that goal, you know what? And I've got some students who are flying through the exams. I've got other students as well. And in the last year, I've got other students who've literally gone from grade 2 and gone all the way up to grade 5 in a year. They haven't taken the exams, but their standard of playing, they have progressed so much. I'm putting that down to lockdown. And I'm looking at that as a positive. The student's doing great. And I'm sure he'll know who I am if he watches this video. So a goal, something to aim for. Is it learning Happy Birthday on the piano and being able to play it to your grandma on her birthday? Is it just being able to sit and just play something from memory? Is it playing your mum's favourite song? Is it playing your favourite song? Is it playing a song that you sing at school? Yeah? My little boy sings a song called Cauliflower's Fluffy, and he came home from school not that long ago saying that he'd been learning it, and then I started playing it on the piano and he was like, Mummy, you know this song. So it was nice. I must do a video of that one day, it'll be good. So having a goal, having something to look forward to. So there we go. There's my little insight into practice. It's a subject that we all talk about. And if you're not talking about it, you need to be talking about it with your teacher. I'm hoping I've given you some tips there. And if you like what I say, then drop us a comment. If you're watching this back on replay, then I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know where you are on your musical journey. Okay, take care. See you again. Bye.